Hello everybody and welcome to Yoga Therapy for Back Care Part 3. We begin the practice today with some hip strengthening exercises. So I invite you to grab a head support, either a pillow or a bolster or a blanket, and coming down onto the side. And here we want the knees to be stuck together, bringing them a little bit closer towards the upper body and perhaps placing the top hand onto the top hip here. The feet stay together while on an inhale we begin lifting the knee, and then on an exhale lower down. This movement is the supine clamshell, which is a great exercise for strengthening the side hip. And having a strong side hip muscle is known to relieve lower back pain. So as you lift the knee here, you can feel with a hand on the hip how the muscle on the side here is contracting. So one more here, lifting on an inhale and exhale to lower the knee down. Good. So taking a breath here. Beautiful. And we are now going to stretch out the top leg and begin our leg lift. So on an inhale, gently lifting the leg up, and then exhale to lower down. It doesn't have to be very high here. So we do this 2 more times. So inhaling up and lower, bringing it back down. And the last one, inhale and exhale. Beautiful. We're now going to explore some hip rotations. So on the inhale, pointing the toes and the kneecap up as the leg lifts. And on an exhale, lower the toes, the kneecap to the ground, and leg goes down. So we do this 2 more times. Inhaling, toes, knees up, and exhale, the whole leg moves down. And the last one, inhaling, toes, leg lifts, and exhale, last one here, lower down to the ground. Beautiful. So coming in back here with the stacked knees together, you can stay here. Or if you want a little bit more release for the hip, you can gently take that top leg and move it back behind you. Either placing the hand here on the hip, push it back a little, or you may want to grab hold of the ankle or the foot of the leg behind you for a deeper stretch on the front of the thigh and the front of the hip. So taking one big breath here. Releasing. Beautiful. Once that feels complete, you can bring the back leg back towards you here again. And taking this now to the other side. So I'm moving my support here. And coming on to the sideline on the opposite side. So again, the knees remain stuck together here, bringing them a little closer to the upper body, placing the top hand onto the top hip, and the feet stay together while on an inhale we'll just lift one of the knees and exhale, lower back down. And moving here with the breath, slowly and gently. The muscle that we are engaging here is the gluteus medius, and it's known that as this muscle here on the side hip strengthens, we will also experience less lower back pain. So one more breath here, lifting on an inhale and lower on an exhale. Beautiful. Taking a full breath here. And now strengthening that foot on top, the leg on top, and we begin on an inhale by lifting low and slow, and exhale, releasing back to the ground. Beautiful. And we do this 2 more times. And it doesn't have to be very high, just a little bit. You feel strength here. Beautiful. And now on this side we're going into the rotations, so toes and kneecap goes up with the leg on an inhale, and on an exhale lower down. Again, rotating that entire foot and knee up, and exhale, rotating down and leg down. And last one here now. Inhaling, toes and knees goes up, and exhale back. Beautiful. Coming back onto stacked knees here. You can stay here, or perhaps bringing that top leg back behind you, holding on here to the hip, or perhaps grabbing onto the foot or the ankle to feel a little bit more stretch here in the front of the thigh and the front of the hip. Taking a breath, and once that feels complete, releasing that leg and pushing up into hands and knees. So it can feel really good here to release the hips after that strengthening exercise. Either you can slide back here into a child's pose, balasana, by sliding the hips back, or you can tuck the toes under and come into a downward facing dog. Here in downward facing dog, you could bend one of the knees and then tugging the opposite heel back, and then switching. So walking the dog here, you feel really good. You may also wish to explore some swaying the hips from side to side, perhaps bending the knees gently here, or wiggling the tail. Beautiful. Taking one more breath here, either in child pose or in downward facing dog, and then releasing, coming back down on hands and knees and coming into a seated position. So what we're going to explore now is some hip release through a pigeon pose, a modified version of pigeon. And for this position here, we will be seated in a Z position like this. If this does not work with your body today, you can always come onto a supine position, laying down, and you can here choose to lift one of the feet and placing the ankle onto the opposite knees, and perhaps on an inhale lifting that foot off the ground, and exhale to lower down. That's option 1. Option 2 is to come into a modified version of pigeon. So here I'm sitting with the right shin forward and the opposite leg is behind me. And I grab a block or a bolster and place in front of me. And then I gently begin to walk slowly forward here until my forehead lands on my support. So feeling the connection here of my third eye between the eyebrows, which is also known as the Ajna chakra. And this is the center of wisdom and witnessing. Just taking a few breaths here. And once this feels complete, walking the hands back and lifting up here, finding the strength to lift back up. Beautiful. I'm going to try this now on the opposite side. So it's now my left leg that comes forward and the opposite goes behind me, placing the support in front of me. And again, begin walking forward here. I can also here, if it feels comfortable, you can also sit on a blanket or any support you wish. And it's okay here if the front knee lifts. That's great. You can even place any support under the knee if you wish. So just resting here with the forehead onto the support. And once that feels complete, walking the hands closer towards you and pushing up, finding your strength and coming into a seated position again. And now to close off this practice here, we're going to do a little bit of gentle release for the upper back. So for this, I'm using a slow-mo ball, which is a half-inflated Pilates ball. And I'm going to place that between my shoulder blades. So laying down here on a head support. And just laying here on this slow-mo ball really opens up that chest area. And we can, if you want, you can also add some arm movements here. So on an inhale, placing the hands together here, like the fingertips touching in what's known as Hakini Mudra, and bending the elbows gently. And on an inhale, we're moving those arms overhead, and exhale, coming back to the heart center. So again, inhaling here, and exhale. And the last one. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. And we can now explore by taking this out to the side in these wing-like movements. So inhaling, arms go down to the side, and exhale, coming back together again. And this doesn't have to be very far. It's okay if your arms don't go out very far. Just helps to open up that area there between the shoulders and releasing upper back. And we may also wish to explore some rotational movements here. So the wrist points together here, back of the hands touch, and on an inhale, bringing the palms out so they touch the ground here, the fingertips perhaps making contact with the ground, and on an inhale, rotating the hands so the palms touch back together as they meet over the heart. So again, exhaling to bring the fingertips, palms down, and exhale, bringing the hands and the palms meeting together again. And last one here in this rotation, and back together on inhale. Beautiful. We can just release the arms here, relax either in cactus arms, or you may wish to place the palms down with the arms beside you, or perhaps palms up. Your choice here, how you wish to relax. A couple of breaths. Take one more breath here, and once that feels complete, you can roll over to one side, releasing the support underneath you, and you can choose here perhaps to cuddle the knees towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug here, perhaps rocking a little from side to side. And this, my friends, concludes the practice today. So thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you wellness and a healthy, strong, released back. Namaste.